Welcome to episode 4 of Government Secrets, starring Lee Camp, and also Graham. What's the last name again?
It would be
Elberg. Elberg.
Gary Edwards.
And Graham Elwood. And this is episode 4. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us in listening to your favorite podcast that is on none of those mainstream podcast platforms. We don't believe in them. We say fuck iTunes and Stitcher and Spotify. No, we're working on it. It'll happen any day now.
Yeah, it's
one of those questions. How many comedians does it take to get a podcast on a podcast platform?
It's clearly more than 2 in this instance.
Clearly.
Not enough. We don't have enough skill to do this.
It's somewhere above 2. But yes, welcome. Thank you guys who have been enjoying the first few shows. Let's get to it. I think we should. So we talked some last week about the black bagging of protesters. Now, this has become a mainstream story, which, part of me is like, that's not fair. That was our secret story we were talking about. Mm-hmm. But it's good when it becomes a mainstream story because it means the mainstream media is actually talking about something important, like fucking thug troops, fascist troops grabbing protesters off the street and throwing them into black minivans like they're villainous soccer moms or some shit.
It's a rogue group of soccer moms that have just started their own secret organization.
Yep, they knitted their own camo and they're just out on the streets, grabbing
holsters full of red wine, and
grabbing up people as they throw them into the minivan. They're like, "Just move those cups out of the way and the baby seat. You can just fold that over and just get in the back." Yeah. They throw them into these minivans that they've rented, apparently. Anyway, the reason we're bringing up the topic again is because now we have more information about it. Some of it you may have already heard. We now know who these nameless troops are that are not infiltrating, attacking various U.S. cities. So far, it's just Portland, but Trump says it's going to be other cities. These are under DHS. They're somehow connected to Custom Border Patrol, but the umbrella organization is Department of Homeland Security, and the acting head of Homeland Security, I believe it is Fuckface Cuccinelli. I don't, parents didn't love him much. It's a terrible name, but
it's a name from the old country, Fuckface.
I mean, and he's got Cooch in his last name, so they were just going on the theme, really. Cuccinelli's actually my favorite pasta.
It really is. You put a nice. I mean, I don't know. I like it with a pesto, but maybe that's me.
But Cuccinelli, I've heard 1 or 2 of these interviews he's done defending this practice of completely unnamed, masked fucking militants, paramilitary troops grabbing unarmed protesters. And the things he's saying in these interviews are hilarious. So he's saying they're going to do it. They're going to continue to do it. They're not backing down. But he goes, and some people are acting like unmarked vehicles is something bad, but there's unmarked police cars all over the place. And I'm like, a defense of fascism is not, there's lots of it.
Wow.
That's not a good defense.
Oh my God. That guy, he's not saying, well, I'm going to say something so stupid and let's see if they buy it. He believes that. He made that statement and he's like, yeah, this is there's unmarked cop cars everywhere. It's like, oh, so secret police forces are good. We need more of them. Like, we need more of the KGB style stuff, which it's great when the government can snatch up its own citizens and go against its own constitution. It's fantastic.
Yeah. It really is just, it's going swimmingly. And someone else was in my Facebook post was like, you say they're, masked, unidentified people, but they have on the mask because of the pandemic. And I don't think that's the real reason. But guess what? You can still identify yourself. They could still have badges on their chest. They could have numbers. There are ways to identify who the hell you are without, just showing your face. But anyway, I think an important point that is not being made in your mainstream media because, you know, they pretend like America and American abuse started with Donald Trump, you know, like, do you remember back in just a few years ago, it was all fucking sunshine and lollipops. It was just, I would ride to work on a unicorn. I don't know about you. And it was just good times.
Remember when Obama would just basically sent the Girl Scouts down to occupy Wall Street? Is that correct? Isn't that what he did?
Right. The Girl Scouts came and talked us out of occupying any longer. Is how it actually ended. You know, a lot of people don't know that.
That's what happened.
They said they'd give us some of the Samoan cookies if we pack up and head on out.
Well, I believe it was also just, it was super fun up at Standing Rock, right? Like Obama just sent again like a bunch of nice people. They set up lemonade stands and just said, hey, would you guys mind leaving? Like, they didn't shoot water cannons at people in 30-degree temperature or anything like that at all at Standing Rock. That was all Obama's just hope and change brigade.
Listen, that the water cannons were done because the protesters, they thought they were very hot from protesting all day, and they were trying to cool them down. It was really a friendly gesture. But, you know, they wrote that playbook of friendly gestures during the summer, and it turns out it was 30 degrees out. So the hosing them down was not as appreciated as it should have been, I think.
Yeah. And that's why we had, Tiger Swan up at Standing Rock and all this other fun, easygoing groups.
And the dogs. Remember when they unleashed the dogs on people, literally? Yeah. But so not only did that go on under Obama, but the law supposedly that creatively allows for these DHS troops to invade American cities is under NDAA. It's the National Defense Authorization Act. And so this was signed into law under Obama. And for all the people that were running around like, I got my Obama pom-pom, it's fine, you know, it's no big deal. But I was reading this, people knew, many of us knew that they were like, look, even if you do love Obama, which you should have your questions, even if you do love him, what happens when a fucking dictator comes down the line a week from now?
Yep.
What happens with the next president? And sure enough, here we are. A dictator's toolkit was handed to Donald Trump, and the Democrats are like, why is he using all the things we gave him?
Oh, I know. The lefts or liberals or Democrats, whatever you want to call them, their refusal to acknowledge all the awful crap that Obama has done and did and set up for Trump is one of the reasons we have Trump. It's unbelievable. They're just like that when everyone went nuts when families were being separated at the border, and rightfully so, that was awful. But those cages were built under the Obama administration. He deported 3 million people. And it's just like they sound just as delusional as the Trump supporter that's like, oh, Trump never lies. Like, do you think people in the Middle East were like, yay, these drones that Obama sent are so much nicer than the ones that Bush or Trump sent? Like, his have rainbow flags on them. Yippee!
Friendly address. I actually was looking. Let's see if I still have it here. And I was looking at an article. No, maybe I don't have it up. But an article. It was Obama when Obama signed into law the NDAA, and the title of it was like, with reservations, Obama signs National Defense Authorization, and that's what people liked about Obama. Is that you got all the same fucking, or, 80% of the same, dictatorial fascist horror show, people deported, people bombed, killing innocent civilians, more bombs dropped than ever before until Trump. And you got all that except with reservations.
Yes.
They'd always say, I don't like that this is happening. And that made everyone feel so goddamn good about it.
Oh, I know. It's all of it. I mean, like, he stopped the Keystone Pipeline. Yeah, but then he left it open for them to reopen it. That's just like his whole presidency was that. He finally shut down.
Well, and even that was only in his last weeks. That was him being like, I'll do it now because I'm leaving.
And make it look, he's resisting Trump. It's the same thing. He shut down the Dakota Access Pipeline a month before he left office, knowing full well Trump was going to get sworn in and open it back up. So it's just like,
then people are like, People are also like he commuted Chelsea Manning's sentence. It's like he's the one who allowed the torture of Chelsea Manning.
Oh God, and also too, they don't know what commuting means. Commuting, he didn't wipe out her sentence. He just commuted it, saying at any time she can be put back to jail. Oh, and guess what? That's what Trump did. Gee, Willikers, who saw that coming? Like they're so tricked.
Well, and it really takes away the ability of these squishy liberals to argue what they're arguing now. Because if you want to say how horrible these kids, these families are in cages, it's disgusting, it's terrible, you needed to be saying it 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You need to show some sort of moral core that is there. It doesn't matter what the face in the White House looks like. And they've proven complete inability to do that. I mean, if you want to act like you have a moral core now about the racist shit that Donald Trump is doing, then you need to also call out Joe Biden creating the crime bill. Like,
yes.
You need to have a fucking center.
Yeah, you got to have some. You can't just say Trump bad, Trump bad. Like, because let me tell you something. And all those moms that locked arms in Portland, I commend them. I commend them, and they got shot with tear gas and everything. But let me tell you something. If Joe Biden is the new president, that's still going to happen. He said he's not going to defund the police. He said he's going to do a middle ground climate policy. He's going to keep bombing.
I bet he would meet with those moms and smell their hair. So
yes, it would be. Yes,
at least they'd have that.
Yes, and they could say I was creeped on by Joe Biden. Yeah, I mean, they don't want to acknowledge any of it. Not only did Biden write the crime bill, Clinton signed it into law. I mean, they don't
apparently by Biden's Biden was supplying the pressure to get Clinton to do that. I'm not letting Bill Clinton off the hook at all, but I'm just saying like Biden was a major force, perhaps even bigger than Bill Clinton in getting that crime bill through.
Yeah, and no one wants to acknowledge it, and it's just like. If Obama was this hero we thought he was or whatever, he would have put all these laws. He could have put all these laws in place to make all of this shit impossible for Trump or anybody to follow him up. But instead, he left it open to him.
And the other thing is, people love the squishy liberals love to say that, well, Obama wanted to do all these things, but he just couldn't get it through Congress because they were opposing him and everything. But even if you ignore whatever it was, 1 or 2 years where he actually had Congress, a Democratic Congress, but even if you ignore that, look how much Trump is doing without Congress.
Yeah.
And it's all disgusting shit. Don't get me wrong. It's largely not positive stuff, but it's like, then if Obama really stood for those things, why wasn't he on the goddamn bully pulpit demanding prison reform, demanding health care that doesn't give in to our insurance companies, and demanding a better sustainable environmental system? Like, he could have been demanding all these things, talking about these things, making them a national issue. The media would have fawned over every speech he gave, and instead, none of that.
Right, and the outside of the years, what was this, 2010 to 2011 or 12, where the Democrats had the Senate and the House, and even those years where he could have got all this stuff done. Exactly, the years he didn't have control, he could have rallied everyone. Everyone would have been calling their senators and Congress people. They would have been voting them out of office at the next minute. All this stuff would have happened, and we're done. And now, holy shit, the democratically controlled Congress just rubber stamps everything Trump. It's mind-numbing to me to listen to this vote any blue will do crap when it's like they just voted Congress, and this was the thing I was going to talk about, but I'll bring it up now, is Congress just voted down. So there was a bill to cut the Pentagon budget just by 10%, right? And it failed 93 to 324. 60% of Democrats voted against making this small cut to our nation's budget. They couldn't even do that, which is 10% is a token gesture, right? It's 70-some billion, like, oh no, we only have $710 billion.
It's hardly anything.
It's hardly anything. They couldn't even do that.
Well, and also in this the NDAA that they're re-signing, or that the House just put forward, in this version, one of the things they've added is something to stop Trump from withdrawing any U.S. troops.
Yes, that's more.
Literally, that is what the Democrats are fighting for, to stop Trump from possibly creating the slightest modicum of peace anywhere in the world. And again, Trump is not a peaceful man. He has dropped more bombs than Obama year per year, his military at least, and he would be nuclear bombing people right now if there wasn't someone being like, it might come back to bite us. So this is not a peaceful. It's not a peaceful man. But in a few instances, he's tried to bring back some troops from Afghanistan, tried to bring back some troops from Syria, tried to bring back troops from Germany, tried to make some sort of peace with North Korea. At every step of those, the Democrats, the other ruling establishment have stepped in and said, "Oh no, back the fuck up. We're not withdrawing anything."
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And they won't even. And it just shows you, because if the Democrats really wanted to beat him in November, they would, rather than just say, "Oh, Trump, Trump, Russia, Russia, Trump," they would say, "Oh, he said he ran on an anti-interventionist campaign in 2016. That was, he said he was going to pull people out of these wars." And the Democrats could say he hasn't. He's kept the war machine going. But they can't do that because they get money from the military-industrial complex. That's why they just voted down this defense budget cut.
Yeah. I mean, they're owned by the same people. What we're getting around to, we took the long route, around to the end point here. They're owned by the same people. We took the scenic route, and we get down to they're both owned by the military-industrial complex, and that's what you're seeing here in these steps they're taking. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's horrifying, and you don't see any movement on it. And I guess, for some people their next question might be, well, what do we do then? If, how do we stand up to these thugs that are showing up in cities? And one thing is, it is people standing up, as we're seeing. Apparently the Portland, along with those moms, have actually pushed back the federal troops, pushed them back to where they came from in the courthouse or whatever. There's an article about that from last night, showing a lot of people power in Portland. But also, I think it in the cases where an area has stood up against this kind of thing, it usually comes down to local lawmakers, like mayors, and the few mayors with backbones, and state reps and things. So it's why I don't say don't vote. It's because, yes, maybe the two main parties are largely bought on the federal level, but you can often have a much larger impact on local politics.
No, it's a great point, because all the real change, especially with Bernie bailing and just quitting, it's shown that all of the change that has happened and there's a lot that's happened in the last 2 months, has all been happening are on the local level. And this is showing, and these protests are local issues. They're protesting.
And these local things then go viral.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't just stop at that city.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's huge. So this Portland mom thing, this has gone viral. I mean, this is just in the last couple of days, and everyone's like, wow, the moms. And Portland is a largely white city. It's a city of white liberals. So it's like all these white moms primarily are like, we ain't having it. And that's your voting block in Portland. So if you're on the Portland City Council, you're the Portland mayor, you're like, oh God. Or even if you're a state representative and your district is in Portland, you're like, oh God, they could vote me out quick. So, and this is we've seen this so many times, like Gail McLaughlin in Richmond, California, small little town, but Chevron literally had people on the city council. She got him out of there. I mean, Asheville, North Carolina just voted 7-0 for reparations for African Americans in that city. That's a huge...
All right, but I gotta say, Asheville is like some sort of fucking bizarre Burning Man town. I mean, you can't... you can't go in there without someone flashing their tits at you and someone giving you face paint, and you can get a contact high just from hanging out in the middle of town.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's a little different there.
Yeah, Asheville is definitely a little different there. But what happened is, I think the smell of patchouli and weed and body painting, it actually drifted up to Providence, Rhode Island, because now Providence, Rhode Island is talking about putting those same measures. They're having local discussions and debates on their city council, which Providence, Rhode Island is not the chakra crystal place that Asheville, North Carolina is. Providence is pretty working class. And so
I mean, yeah, these kind of issues that are changed on a local level or in a city, you'll often see them picked up city after city after city because people realize it's possible. Lawmakers get some cover in terms of like, well, if they did it in that city, then I won't look crazy for doing it in my city, and that kind of thing. I don't know if you remember this. It was like a few years back. It was like illegal for two men to sign a silly federal contract saying they will love each other forever.
Yes.
And then people were like, wow, that's stupid. And then that other people were like, hey, they said it was stupid. Maybe we should say it's stupid.
Yeah, you're right.
And then the whole nation said, yeah, that's stupid.
It starts on exactly. Then all these states went, come on, gay marriage is legal. Same thing with first medical marijuana, which California signed medical marijuana into law in like 97 or 98. And then it got up to 13 or 14 states had medical marijuana. Now we have a handful of states with recreational marijuana. So it's another thing that we're very close. It won't happen with this coked out rapist president, but maybe somebody else will be.
Listen, it's never nice to insult someone's hobbies. All right.
Yes.
Well, he does it in off time.
You're right. He should be able to do blow and go to tanning salons in the Oval Office. But yeah, you're right. So I think the decriminalization of marijuana will happen federally after more and more cities and states say, come on, because what's happening too, and it comes down to the money, is the, because that's part of this too. So like conventions, big companies, they're not going to go to states that say no. That sort of happened with the gay marriage. That happened with the bathroom issue in North Carolina. All these like the Final Four and all these people were like, nope, we're not going. That just happened in D.C. with FedEx. Got pressure to get the mascot out of there.
How? It seems like things have gotten crazier recently, but how stupid was that bathroom thing?
Oh, I know.
Jesus Christ. We can't have the indignity of someone who's born a man who now identifies as a woman in our bathrooms. It's like, do you know what fucking goes on in public bathrooms? You're like knee deep in turds. There's fucking rats crawling around. There's people injecting opioids into their eyeballs in one of the stalls, and yet you're worried that a guy who identifies as a woman is gonna go into the wrong. Oh God.
Yeah, I don't want a transgender person to use a glory hole. I want just a regular man to use a glory hole. Come on. Yeah, it's crazy. The whole public restroom thing, like who cares? But that's the thing, is the pressure. And then when it goes viral, social media, and fortunately the millennials and Gen Z, that they're just not, most of them are like, nope, they're leading the way with these protests. They're like, we ain't having it, because they're on social media. They're not watching CNN and Fox News and MSNBC with the 70-year-olds. They're just going, nah, we ain't doing it. And this pressure, it's like, if you don't reform stuff, companies and businesses are like, I'm not coming there. And then conversely, you're seeing like all the budget surplus that Colorado has because of its recreational marijuana and all that stuff. And it's, I'm seeing some changes that are sort of.
Oh yeah, there's positive things out there. I mean, and I think a lot of them came about because of the quote unquote information revolution that now it gets hardly any coverage, but now there is a full court press by all of our government, like almost to a person, like the entirety of Congress and everything, to shut down the information revolution, to make sure that people cannot communicate so freely, because they found out that when that happens, you know what happens? People like Bernie Sanders do very well in elections. And this was a major problem for them.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see. Like, it's going to be messy and stuff, but all this, I mean, I'm telling you, the image of just a bunch of moms arm in arm going no to guys. And what does it say to you, private DHS guy? These moms, these soccer moms, no weapons, no, tear gas canisters. You're all armed up and afraid of them? Wow, are you a pussy? Wow, are you just such a baby that you need to well, the moms are coming. We need to shoot rubber bullets at them.
Let's not use pussy as a term of weakness. The pussies are the strong ones here.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. They are a bunch of limp dicks. That's what they are. They are just soft, whiskey-dicked morons that can't stand up. It's like you think.
Okay, now I'm upset you insulted whiskey. So really, you are stepping on a lot of landmines here, Graham. A lot of landmines you're walking into.
I'm sorry if I shamed whiskey. Whiskey is nature's nectar, and it's a pure. It's daddy's truth juice.
Oh man, I love to have a little whiskey and some Cuccinelli. I really do. I really do.
Everybody, like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification button and the subscribe button, even if you've done it before, because they're unsubscribing, many of you, every day. Watch the ads all the way through. If you click skip ad, I don't get paid. Also, support us at patreon.com/Graham Elwood or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. Rockfin.com is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. All my videos are on Rockfin ad-free. Thanks for watching.